Hargreaves, a chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays offside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benny. Sills.
Hello and welcome to the latest Gull'S Eye View. I'm joined by Tom.
Good evening, lads. Nice to see you again.
I'm joined by Tom.
Good evening. How are you, Mr. Celebrity? Are you
fine? Fine. Joined by Chris.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you still spoke to us, Sam.
Yeah,
sorry,
no, it's just a warm-up gig. Right.
You might be leaving us behind now, but...
Where do we start from here? Okay, right. So...
This isn't a them and us situation, Chris.
No, it is... no, exactly.
Sorry,
right.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Right, professional now. Straight back to TORQUAYTALK. Where are we? So much to talk about. So much pride. Obviously, still the worry of what is happening. But I mean, I've actually got a list of positive things I need to remember to mention. I've got a list of things I want to mention. You know, it's amazing. And I'd just like to say a big well done to everyone involved with who made Saturday so good. And there's on strict football, we'll do a strict football analysis as well, because I know it's totally different right now. But there was actually some positives in that point as well. One result we wanted, but there was quite a few positives. But I noticed that I think that Torquay could really improve from on that side. So we split it up, and then we have Kelly's Corner in the second part. I'm going to start with my list before I forget. Okay, so little bits about the football part. Okay, I felt obviously the whole match day atmosphere was much better. We were very welcome when we came in. Stewards are a lot friendlier. Not saying they're always unfriendly, there's always the odd one, but you know what I mean? It was a lot less them and us situation. Even if one of the stewards in the front of the pop side blocked my view of Averley's second goal, but you can't have it all. I've noticed, on a strict footballing policy, part of you, that the warm-ups seem more professional. There's a lot more, I don't know if it's just because, you know, I was a little bit earlier than usual, but there's a lot more, I felt like the sports sort of therapy people, there's a lot on it. There's a lot more unity behind it. I don't know, it just seemed a little more professionally laid out. That was my big thing to take away. Downs's football injury management, I think, was very good. It was nice to, you know, discussing to take Jarvis off in the 83rd minute. It just felt like they had judged the fact that they got to what we call the red zone, or sports science call the red zone, and they were taking him off to rest him. I thought, you know, no injuries. Injuries are part of football, of course, but there was no injuries at the weekend. And then there was little parts in the game plan. Of course, it was nowhere near the finished article, but just I felt like with a 3-5-2, which has been so naive against a Navy team who are very well set up. This National League South is a lot better, in my opinion, than it was when we were last year. There's a lot more kind of professional and teams, you know, well set up. I just felt that there was movements, wasn't there, in the play. It didn't always come off, but we used the possession in the 3-5-2 a lot better. I thought the centre-backs on the whole were good. Austin Booth, I feel, was really coming into it. He's got good leader abilities about him as well. I thought Nelson, first time I've seen him play, I was quite impressed by him. The right-back, Jude Boyd, at a really good game. I just felt those little signs of an actual unity, a bit of coaching going on there in like the 2 or 3 days. They gave it the rule. Nice to see Ash and Jarvis. That's the first time I've actually enjoyed watching them together, where I felt that they actually had the service and we played to Jarvis's strengths. I'll let everyone in a minute. To Jarvis's strengths, where we were sort of back to goal and the ball coming to sort of this area of Jarvis, not this area of Jarvis, which was nice. And like Ash's crosses, the one thing I want to see more of, more shots. I know this sounds like typical, oh shoot, but just more shots from distance in well-worked areas, I think, is what I want to see. Just test the opposition keepers at any level, especially at this level, which I'm still not overly sure, especially if you remember it was 5 years ago. But those are little positives. It feels so nice to be positive about the football side of it for once. Of course, we conceded the same old mistakes, which let Averley back in the game, and then a worldie. But that has to be cut out. But I actually think, credit to Aaron Downs, I am so proud to have you managing my football club right now. And yeah, it's incredible. You lot will have your say.
I mean, what I saw from the team was just more pride, passion, enthusiasm. I don't think there was a lot of improvement apart from that, but that can take you a long way, especially in this league. We pushed higher up. We had more running about us. We worked harder as a team. So that made a difference. I think the crowd spurred them on, didn't they?
Of course.
I mean, you were saying about people enjoying going in more. You could just tell there was an enthusiasm
Yeah.
for people to get through those gates and get to their seats on Saturday. And that just makes such a difference, doesn't it? That atmosphere, people just behind the team, United, just like to get behind them, to cheer. And that just spurred them on, I think. And obviously having Dawson back in midfield is a big difference, isn't it? Because he's a leader. He's somebody who chases down things. I mean, he could have been booked about 3 or 4 times because he does dive in a lot, but he makes challenges. He makes things happen. There was the same old flaws because the defence still individually aren't great. There was still too many long balls for my liking.
Yeah.
Ash got 3 or 4 played to him above his head. Can't do much about that. So you've got to try and work on the interplay and the movement. But he only had a couple of days, didn't he? So you got to take that into account. So there's only so much you can do, isn't there, to change the philosophy, change the working. But yeah, it just felt like we had a lot more pride about us on Saturday, and it felt good being there and part of it. Kristen and Bristow's, there was a lot more smiles, a lot more energy. There was just a lot more noise, wasn't there, mate?
There was, and it all just felt completely different, didn't it? I mean, that's like that article I wrote that's gone out today. Yeah, it just felt completely different, didn't it? I mean, again, it's kind of what we've been saying for a while, but it did just feel totally different in terms of just the atmosphere. There was no negativity. It was all behind the players. It was all. I think there were some frustrations on the pitch for sure. My instinct at the time was it wasn't a penalty, and having seen it again, that's never a penalty. If you're giving that, then you're giving a lot.
I think the trouble is, Chris, there's 2 mistakes in that penalty.
Yeah,
that Marshall could have held back a little bit and just got tight. Yeah. He went in quick, lost the ball, and then Austin Booth was caught the wrong side of the attacker.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you get caught wrong side and you dive in, you're giving the referee an opportunity to give him. I mean, he did, and unfortunately, that was a big moment just before half time because
it was.
We always say it, don't we? Don't concede before half time, and it just gave them something.
I think I mean, and again, in fairness, Downs admitted that, didn't he? Which was nice to hear.
Nice to see.
Rather than the evil dribble of we worked hard and all this. It was actually we did have an opportunity, but I'm sorry, the referee has to see what happens. They couldn't wait to give it, as they're all the same at our place, aren't they? He couldn't wait to give it.
All about him.
But it was a 50-50, wasn't it?
But again, the bloke's going that way. The bloke's going that way, and the ball went that way. So he has to have run the ball. So that's frustrating because at the time it felt a bit harsh. Did he have to give it right on half time? No, he didn't. But the referees have been the same all season. They can't wait to give things against his our place. But so that's frustrating. The equaliser. My instinct at the time was I thought Hampstead could do better.
Yeah, no,
even though I had it go quite a long way back.
Yeah,
I don't know actually. To be honest,
I think the sun got in his eyes a bit as well.
Yeah. But he hit it better than I remembered at the time. Actually, I don't know. He's got a prayer with that actually, but
a Premier League keeper would have stopped that, wouldn't he? But at our level, I don't think you are.
They seem to target long shots, didn't they? I don't. It's the first time I've watched Averley. I don't know if they play every game, but they definitely seem to target long shots throughout that game.
That guy scored a few like that by the sound of it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just part of their game because we have conceded quite a lot from distance. I would.
He had one go first half, didn't he? That flew over the bar, so he obviously fancied his chances. And we've conceded quite a few like that because we don't clear the ball properly.
We don't crash the edge of the box quickly enough.
How many times have we seen it?
And we were discussing last night as well, Don, weren't we? That I don't, and this is not a slight on him because although I don't think he's dominant enough a lot of the times for his size, but I bet I don't have these stats because it's National League South. But I bet Halstead's shots against the goals conceded isn't very good because there are a lot of games where we've certainly home games recently. Like the Slough game, and there aren't many games where you've left thinking, "Oh, Halstead's made a few great saves." There's a lot of games he's picked the ball up.
It's been a bit of a difficult season for Halstead. I feel like he had a better season. I don't know. I bet his ratio to shots saved versus goals conceded is that good because he seems to concede a lot of goals. Yeah, it's been a bit of a funny season for him, really, hasn't it? Because he's had a lot of injuries here and there, and it's like when you're a team that's low on confidence, it's quite hard at times. He's a great character, Halstead. I really like him as a bloke. Just the way he kind of came to fans at the end, that's what I take away at the end of the day as well.
He's a good guy, isn't he?
He's a great guy. But there has been times where I think by his standards that he set at times last season, I was expecting to be a little bit more of the best keeper in the league this year. And it's been a bit stop-start for him, I understand, and that's okay. But yeah, no, there's been times where he hasn't quite hit it this season.
He doesn't breed confidence throughout the team.
I like him to be a little bit more commanding at times.
If you watched the St Albans keeper a few weeks ago, he had confidence, and you could tell they looked back at him and thought he's going to sort things out here. But I don't see that.
No, there was a bit of wobbliness between that.
But then he kept us in. He kept us in games at the start of the season.
Yeah,
Halstead, didn't he?
Of course.
Slough away was a prime example. We could have been 5-6 0 down at half time if it wasn't for Halstead.
House's sort of keeper. It's almost like when we are playing bad. And
I think he's used to being in losing teams.
Yeah, and we're against us. He'll make some great saves keepers in games. When it's a sort of game where nothing's happened and out of the blue he's got something to do, maybe I don't know if something's not quite, but it's just because that's sometimes the hardest thing for keepers, when that keeping concentrated for 90 minutes and then having to deal with someone when you're a bit cold like that.
I said to you, Kristen, I think he's been a reserve keeper for an awful lot of years.
Yeah.
And that doesn't breed you confidence to be a winner, unfortunately. I think this is just a struggle to have that mentality. But he's a good guy. He's not a bad keeper. It's just,
just sometimes slightly inconsistent. But no, I do agree. And there's some good characters in that dressing room still, and that's come out. It's really nice to see Asa Hall. Especially when you feel old yet, you've got Asa Hall and Aaron Downs as a coaching staff at Torquay. Just everyone sort of did their bit from that. But is there any other things you want to talk about football wise?
I would add one more thing, Sam, that there is still, when you look at the league, when you look at the table, when you look at minus 10 points, potentially, hopefully not, but potentially, we're going to need some wins. And I still think we lacked cohesion, incisiveness, bit of quality in the final third. We've got two proper strikers up there now.
Got to make that final ball with that. Jarvis made one really good ball on Saturday, and unfortunately it went to a man who rarely ever scores, does he?
I thought he was going to score that. He just did
we
everything
need to get more of those sort of quality balls because we had quite a few crosses, but not enough that came through the middle.
I agree.
There were signs at the weekend of a little bit more structure and a bit more. We didn't have them flooding through us in the same way. But equally, I think now they've had a full week to kind of work on a few things this week. I think he needs to get a few things right, tactically, structurally, and personnel wise at the weekend, because I think obviously Lap's still come back into it. Now Dawson's in there. He's got to kind of get. It still feels a bit like Jenkins Davis is, not him specifically, but he's kind of playing in that position because he's just so you play him. But he doesn't get involved in the ball so much there. So you're kind of almost having Ash and Jarvis further forward helps. But I think we've just got to kind of sort out what that midfield structure is going to be look like. I'd still like to see McGavin further forward to get on the ball in the forward areas more.
He scored 8 goals this season, didn't he? He scored 8 goals this season. He didn't have a shot on Saturday, so I think we need.
But he doesn't get that position. Is that kind of conduit from defence?
He's linking,
kind of link the midfield, isn't he? But I mean, I'll be interested as much then to see where if Lapsley comes back into that team, because I thought it odd all season, a lot of last season, he's played in such an offensive role, because actually he's you could see him sitting in front of the back four, running around, kicking people, winning the ball with Dawson. And then you'd have maybe McGavin a bit further forward in a bit where he can get on the ball, feed Jarvis, get players wide, get the wing backs forward a bit more.
But like a Marnie Little kind of role, not comparing to.
But McGavin hasn't got the legs for it, has he?
No.
It was difficult for Lapsley because he wants to run forward as well, and he's not a disciplined player. He won't sit there, will he? So you've got to get that right.
Yeah.
I think
but he hasn't got the quality to play further forward.
He has to come in, but you're in danger of having too many runners and not enough quality on the ball.
Yeah. And then you've got Stobbs, who's probably not a million miles off being able to start a game now. So there's options all of a sudden, isn't there? But it's just how you get them into a structure and a cohesion that's going to give us a bit more quality. Because there's no doubt Stobbs, there was that one cross he put in the second half, wasn't there? Has got the quality to put balls in the box.
And Ash put some great crosses in.
He did,
and I love seeing crosses, especially this. Just get them in, you've got Jarvis, you can really attack them. But then there weren't enough players in the middle. So, but I think the point we're trying to get across is that there's still a lot of flaws on the strict playing side. But there was, in those 2 or 3 days he's had, we probably 2 training sessions, I would imagine, if that, maybe just one. There's just there are signs, and Aaron Downs, I really want it. I mean, everyone wants it to work when you've got a manager, but it's just something a bit special, isn't there? And Aaron Downs was a leader as a football player, and what I've seen, there's a lot of potential, because You have to be very emotionally intelligent. You can be an amazing tactician, but if you can't motivate your players at any level, you will never be a successful manager, or you lose the ability. Aaron Downs is emotionally intelligent. That's what I've seen. Football players and humans, men, women, everything has changed. The sort of mental psyche. It isn't so much a Gary Johnson past generations, 80s, 90s, 2000s, even footballers, where it's very much like a toughen up, let's do it. We're all quite different now, how we are coming out of these academies. There's a lot of young players in this dressing room, and you need that emotional intelligence. This is why you're seeing a totally different type of manager. Look at Kieran McKenna.
He's also an Aussie, and he'll tell things.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got that part, but also if you look at all these young coaches coming up in our country right now, they're a different type of it's not. They're a lot more. It's something more not intellectual, but because you look at Neil Warnock and he has amazing skill. But do you know what I mean? There's this new kind of coach coming through. It's like a head coach, and I feel like Aaron Downs could really fit into that emotional intelligence. Remember what he's talking about, the mental health of his players. Mix that with you've got to do your job. I'm a leader. Get that together. That's such a big starting point at any level of football, and then add a bit of tactician, which you'd hope he's got to it. You could have a really good manager within him. So fingers crossed.
Aren't we glad that we've got him there? I mean, he's taken so much flack from the fans this season, but at least he cares and he's fronted up to the fans time and time again. And like I said last week, that gives him the tiniest bit of grace in my mind. But
yeah, he kept doing.
Absolutely. I think he's been great. But Tommy's got to win some football matches, hasn't he? That's
he does.
It's an imbalanced squad, isn't he?
It is, and considering where from the announcement on Thursday to then go to Saturday and put that performance on, that's credit and to me. And sadly, I couldn't be there, but I was listening in my hotel room in Inverness for work, and I was just proud, just listening there, just proud of everyone associated with Torquay United Football Club who got together, who, the lads put in a real shift by the sounds of it. I mean, let's be frank here, Aveley are a very good side, and, they beat Maidstone and Hampton in the build-up to playing us away. So, it was going to be a tough game regardless. And, it was just one of those we could have easily lost, and with Gary Johnson in charge. But whatever Downs has done in the couple of days, despite everything going around, is he's brought that unity. And you could just see it in the players, just how they wanted to play for the fans who did turn up in great numbers. And it was just incredible to see the support from the wider footballing community. People buying tickets who couldn't be there and giving tickets to people to go attend. That's what I did, putting money into the club. The Aveley fans who were there was only about 33, I think there was, but the ones who were there for the weekend went to Boots and Laces on Friday night, came back on Saturday. They bought lots of merchandise in the club shop. Amazing. Just incredible. And, like I said, they're a fantastic little football club, and I wish them all the best this season.
They're a DNA for what you can achieve.
Yeah. It's frustrating.
I don't know what you thought. I don't know what you thought, lads, but I actually thought of them, of Aveley, Slough and St Albans, who we've played in the last month at Plainmoor. I actually thought they were the least threatening of the three. Admittedly, it's hard to tell because we were so bad in those two other games. It's hard. We were so open. It's hard to tell. But in terms of quality in the final third and looking like scoring, did House make a save of any kind?
Was that because we were better as a unit? We don't really know.
It's hard to tell. But in terms of their own quality, yeah. Yeah, but in terms of their own quality,
it sounded like after going 2-0 down and bringing it back to 2-2, they thought a point would be a good result for them. And let's be honest, they were in.
Well, they celebrated
for a completely. They were in for a completely different game to the one that they would have been planning for.
They had a few moments, though, second half. There was one moment where we all piled up for a corner, and they had one guy on the road in our half. It was like, oh God, here we go, because you expect the worst at Torquay, don't you? We've seen it so many times, like get back. But
I agree. And talking about other fans and the wider football community, the amount of messages all over, and the Exeter supporters trust, and then the Plymouth fans, other fans coming to support us was great. Chris Ralph, who was our old groundsman, who now Plymouth groundsman, coming back to help. Yeah. Just all people like that, and many other messages. Weymouth, what they did on the weekend. There's loads of other football clubs and supporters trusts who have said well wish the club into us and all that stuff. So it's incredible.
Just shows how highly regarded that we are as a football club to so many.
It's a great away day. It's a great away day.
When we saw the notice on Thursday, I expected a really good reaction from Torquay supporters, but to get everything else that's gone alongside.
Yeah, no.
Looked a lot more than 3,500, mind you. But I thought it looked
yeah,
like
our stadium really feels. I mean, there was this one amazing moment where I think it's about 4 or 5 minutes in, and there's a stand up if you love Torquay. I mean, obviously it's easy when you're in the pop side because we already stood up, so we always start it.
I stand up.
And it was just because I'm not used for years of seeing the family stand basically full, and it was an amazing thing. It looked like CGI. It looked like Ted Lasso. Literally, I felt like I was a Ted Lasso fan. You know, those like really like cringy moments where everyone comes united, but it's amazing. And like all the family stand gradually came up. You know, really sort of quite emotional in a way. So and then all
we felt that for a while, have we?
No, I haven't heard that in a long time, and it was so special, and I'll remember that forever.
And then that in unison before full time, the Talkie Till We Die, and that got really loud on the radio, and that choked me up. And it just highlights how the fans are going to be so important in fighting for this football club. And whatever happens, like we said last week, chats, I'm still confident that whatever happens to us, there'll still be a football club in Torquay. And it's just
nobody's giving up here, are they? Nobody is.
No. But the team could have easily given up on Saturday,
or fallen apart.
They could have fallen apart like we've done when we've had big crowds in the past. But they stood up to the challenge. They fought hard. We got 2 goals. Yes, we've still got defensive frailties, but that saying Rome wasn't built in a day. And considering our whole football club seems to have fallen apart, and we're going to now have to put the pieces back up and rebuild. I think that's a credible point, and it's just going to be a metaphor for the rest of the season. Is we've just got to fight and put in 100%, and fingers crossed things will come out well on the other side this season.
We've got some good games coming up soon, haven't we? So there is good opportunities, and depend on how the situation is off the pitch. You do worry, don't you? But there is some good games coming up. So
and of course, before we move into part 2 and Kelly's corner, you're suffering from losing your voice this week, so he's trying his best. So good on you. But I'd like to say, obviously, on behalf of myself, talking to everyone, just the amount of support and all the opportunities. I'd like to thank, obviously, BBC Spotlight, ITV West Country, Talk TV, and then today BBC Radio 5 Live for giving Torquay United a platform. It's
Sam, you just dropped another radio station there on the floor. Did you?
No.
but it's amazing, isn't it? And I was thinking when I was doing that article last night, I thought, I wonder if, and this sounds a bit, get us, but I wonder if other clubs would have had the same reaction, because it's been a lot of national media coverage. And I get a football club potentially going to the wall is a big deal. But it's not like a football league club or a top-ranked club, is it? So it has been incredible.
A special
it's a funny club that everybody's heard of.
Everyone.
Absolutely.
Whether it's had it through Helen Chamberlain, Basil Fawlty, as
going on holiday down here.
Agatha Christie. It's just a whole.
But I would say I would just close on Saturday, Sam. What I said in that article that kind of struck me, the excitement. Now I've got 2 young sons that I take, and everything's exciting when you go to a football match when you're 11 and 6 like they are, but. The excitement waiting for the players to come out, their excitement when they got their hands up. I
was like that. And I was so excited to go to support my football club.
Yeah, they were buzzing, and the excitement in their face when I said,
I was so sad when it was over as well.
We were going to Weymouth, and you're just like, actually, you can't, that can't die. That excitement, that love from at such a young age where they love their football. It's my fault they love their football club. So sorry, lad. But
my dad apologises to me weekly, usually as well for that part. But But thanks so much for watching us in episode 1, and we'll see you in episode 2.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benjamin.